Hola, ¿qué tal? Aquí Julio Monroy desde Bogotá, Colombia, aquí en Delta Records. Hoy tenemos un gran invitado y ha trabajado con muchos grandes artistas, ah, Bruno Mars, Taylor Swift, Kanye West, bueno, muchos de los que conocemos. Este live va a estar totalmente en inglés, así que vamos a recibir a el gran ingeniero, productor legendario Ken Lewis. Hi Ken, how are you?
I'm doing great, Julio. How are you?
I'm perfect. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to stay with us here. It's amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for the invite to be on the show.
Thanks a lot. I'm here with David Sikar. Hey, Sik, how are you?
Hi everyone, how are you? Welcome to this new episode of Producing with Julio Monroy. Ken, it's a huge honor for us to have you here. We are huge fans of all your work. Your impact in music is amazing, so thank you a lot for being here. And for the people connecting, remember that you can actually ask questions through the platform on which you are watching, and I will communicate the question to. There's a dog over there. You can see
Lola.
Lolita.
There's Lola. Yeah.
She's on the stream as well, so you can leave your comments, and I will read them to both Julio and Ken. I leave you with the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Well, Ken, it's amazing to have you here. We only have like two mandatory questions, and I'm going to ask you the first, okay? Because all the
It,
people is going to ask you, uh, But how did you begin in this music audio industry?
well, I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston and graduated in 1991. Came back home to Ohio and got a job engineering at a local recording studio. Spent a year working there, and then in 1993, that's how old I am, um, I moved to New York City May of 1993 and stayed in New York City for 29 years, or the New York City area for 29
Wow,
years, made it there. And then 3 years ago, I moved back to Ohio, where I am right now, and built two new studios, and I've had a great run in Ohio so far. So, but yeah, I went to school and then got out and hit New York City and just decided I was going to own that town, and so far so good.
well, great. Before that, when you were a child, what did you like about the music? Or how was that?
Well, I remember my when I was 8 years old, my friend
Yeah.
got a guitar for Christmas, and he started learning how to play, and I just was enthralled with him playing the guitar. So I started asking for a guitar, and after I kept asking for 2 years, my parents knew I was serious.
Mhm.
So at 10 years old, they got me a guitar for Christmas, and at 16, I got my first 4-track recorder, and
Wow.
started making recordings in my basement. I have shoe boxes full of recordings that I did in my basement. And then one day in high school, I was taking music theory in high school, and a Berklee College of Music representative came to my school and told us about Berklee. Before then, I didn't really see a path to the music industry for me. And I remember going home and being super excited and telling my dad, like, this is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. And he supported me and sent me to
Wow, that's
college.
nice.
And I've made sure every day that I pay him back with results. So.
Wow, that's beautiful story. And can which bands did you hear when you were a teenager, for example?
Ozzy Osbourne. I mean,
Oh, sí, Osborne. Yeah.
Ozzy. Paranoid was the second album I ever bought. Back in Black was the first album I ever bought. But growing up, I listened to a lot of rock. It was like Journey and Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Ozzy Osbourne, Judas Priest, then a lot of Southern rock, like Leonard Skinner and 38 Special, um, bands like that. Then I went to Berkeley and opened up to a whole new set of artists like Jane's Addiction and just different styles of music, jazz fusion, which I never loved, but it's amazing to see those players. And yeah, just every style of music and every style of player under the sun was at Berkeley. So it was really just an amazing opportunity to be around incredible musicians. And one of the things that I learned on like my first night at Berkeley was that there were 1,500 other guitar players in the school, and I was not one of the better ones. And
Okay.
I had better be a great engineer and producer because those guys could play circles around me. I didn't even know you could play guitar the way that some of these guys played. And so I just really poured myself into engineering and production, which I loved, and made that my path. And now the irony of that is I've probably played guitar on more major label records than almost anybody I've gone to school with. So,
Yeah.
no difficult parts, just the needed parts. So
Yeah, so you studied music production, music. What is the degree?
music, it's MP&E, music production and engineering. So it
Uh-huh.
was
Okay.
everything studio related, dealing with making records. But honestly, my real education started in New York City.
Hmm.
When I got to New York City in 1993, I probably learned more in the first 6 months in New York City than I did at my entire time at Berkeley and my entire time before that. But I think when you're just completely immersed in record making, like I was busy at Berkeley, but in New York City, the first week I was there, I worked 102 hours. And then the second week
Wow.
was 95 hours, and 90 plus hour weeks were the norm. And when you're working that much around the top level talent in the world, uh, that's where I really got my education in making records. Was like mid '90s, the golden age of boom bap New York hip hop. I was right in it.
Did you work with in that time? You worked with famous artists in New York, or before that, uh, when you
Um,
arrived
I
to New York?
with
That.
I got to work with a couple famous artists in Ohio before I moved to New York.
Hmm.
But when I got to New York City, I worked with virtually every single East Coast rapper, a lot of the urban R&B singers, um, and then I started expanding into like pop and rock. I got to work with Butch Vig early on. Um, I got to work with Mike Stone early on. Mike Stone recorded the first 6 Queen albums. He recorded We Will Rock You and Bohemian Rhapsody and albums like that. And I got to assist for him on a Foreigner album. And I got to do some engineering on that as well. And I learned a ton from Mike Stone. I learned a ton from Butch Vig. Uh, and this was maybe 2 albums after Butch Vig had done Smashing Pumpkins' Siamese Dream, and it was the first time that Butch and Andy Wallace were back together since Andy mixed Nevermind for Nirvana. Um, so Andy
Wow.
Wallace was mixing the record. It was Soul Asylum, Let Your Dim Light Shine was the album. And I got to engineer a ton on that, and I just learned a bunch from Butch. So yeah, early New York City, I got to work with everybody. And I was at a studio called Soundtrack Recording that had 9 studios, and they basically had 1 or 2 of everything. So I got to learn every console, every automation system, every microphone, every piece of outboard gear, it was just the most amazing place to learn as a young engineer. Um, and then I went freelance after 2.5 years at Soundtrack. I went freelance in 1995, and I've been freelance ever since 1995.
Wow. Well, a lot of work.
Yeah,
And
the Soul
yeah,
Asylum album right there is the
yeah.
that.
Can we
Yeah.
see what do you have there?
So I have my plaques digitally behind me.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to put a bunch of reflective surfaces in this room because I mix Atmos in here. So my wife digitized all of my plaques for me, and we just put them on screens behind me. That's Jeremiah,
Jeremy.
Down on one of my big hits. J. Cole, Memphis Bleak. Yeah, there's a ton of them. So.
Wow, and 2 Grammys. Beautiful.
And 2, yeah. I've gotten 2 in the last 2 years after a 32-year drought. So I finally got a couple.
Oh, they're amazing. And Bruno Mars. Do you have a Bruno Mars there?
Yeah, I've
Did you
worked on
play in
2.
Bruno Mars? Tell me more about it, please.
I worked on Uptown Funk. I did on that album, Unorthodox Jukebox, I did just some like extra music for him. Like I'm kind of an octopus kind of going through this industry, and I do a lot of different things for a lot of different people, but one of my superpowers is being like a go-to guy for some of the heavies like Mark Ronson and Kanye West and who else? Eminem and J. Cole. So they'll reach out to me and they'll have me do small gigs that I specialize in and just take some weight off of them. Jack Antonoff hires me a lot. So a lot of the big records I've gotten on because I'm a specialist at certain things. And then there's my other Bruno Mars album, 24 Karat, and To Pimp a Butterfly. There's an album that I worked on early, Mary J. Blige. I used to do a ton of sessions early on with Mary J. Blige in the 90s. What an incredible singer. So, yeah, I'm really fortunate. I've basically gotten to work with everybody.
Yeah, that's amazing. We have heard a lot of songs. For example, Bruno Mars, Uptown Funk, and 24K. Yeah, we are very fans of that song. And so did you play in that song?
I did some percussion for Uptown Funk, and I did some additional engineering. So I just had a small role on that song on there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you created percussion like with virtual instruments, or how did you do that?
I can't remember how I created it. Every album, every song is just different. Sometimes I do what's called sample recreation. And like an artist would sample something that they either didn't want to clear or couldn't clear, and they would send it to me and I would recreate it from scratch. So like some of my more famous sample recreations would be like Power for Kanye West. So the chipmunk vocals on Power, the that's me and Alvin Fields.
Wow.
And it's meant to so that's meant to sound like a sample, but it's me and Alvin Fields. And that's how I got my start with Kanye, was he started having me recreate samples for him. And then that opened up new doors for me. Like I produced the horn section on All of the Lights, which is all live horns. It's all original parts. And, you know, if I had not started with sample recreations, I would have never gotten to production on things like All of the Lights. I don't really love doing sample recreations, but it's been such a great door opener for me that, you know, I find that a lot of people don't want to go through the shit work of the industry in order to get to the stuff that they really want to do. And for me, I always was just like, I'm going to make myself valuable to the people that to the best people that I can make myself valuable to. I'm going to make myself valuable to them so that they come back to me over and over. And that's just what I kept doing. And more people kept finding me, and more people kept hiring me over and over. And that's how I got on all these records.
And you have Shrek in that
Yeah.
screen. Shrek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shrek, that, I worked with the Baja Men on that. And that project, we recorded and mixed the entire thing at a studio in New York called The Cutting Room. And the owner of the record label came in to hear the finished mix, and Steve Greenberg, who signed the Baja Men. And he comes in and he hears the song, and he says, "This song sounds great. Can you turn up the lead vocal in the chorus?" Well, we didn't cut a lead vocal in the chorus. It was just supposed to be a gang vocal of a whole lot of voices. And so the producer lied to him. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm still editing the lead vocal." So soon as the record exec left, we tracked down the Baja Men, who were in London at the time. And this was like 2002, during like dial-up internet. So the slowest internet you can imagine. And we created a 128K MP3 of just the chorus. And we uploaded it to London. And then they cut like 2 lead vocal tracks to 16-bit 44.1. And they sent them back. And that entire round trip took 8 hours. And it was mostly just waiting for files to upload and download. But that opened my eyes to go like, oh, I can work with anybody in the world. Yeah. And as internet gets faster, that's only going to get easier to do. So in like 2003, I was pretty much the first person in the world at my level that was offering mixing services to anybody in the world who could afford my price.
Yeah.
And I thought that was going to be like a side hustle. And what it turned out to be was like my main work. And it opened up doors to like the K-pop world. And like in 2008, I got a call to mix an artist named Rain. And Rain at the time was like the Michael Jackson of Asia. He was just this huge pop artist in Korea. And so I mixed his album called Rainism. And that set me down the path of K-pop. And now I just finished my 50th BTS mix. Wow. And I'm pretty sure BTS would have never found me if not for Rain. And Rain would have never found me if I hadn't just put myself out on the internet and offered my mixing services to whoever could afford them and wanted them worldwide. So that's how it happened.
Yeah, so that's how it works. And can BTS sounds fantastic, great. When you I have a question that I was wondering, when you mix a song, do you have like a template of yours, or do you begin empty in Pro Tools? What do you?
I start with all faders down. Am I frozen here? That's weird. I start with all faders down, and I listen to the rough mix like 4 or 5 times, and I get a picture in my mind of where I think I want to take that song. And then I start mixing very, very fast, and within probably 1 hour, every single track is in the mix and roughly balanced. So even if I have like 150 track mix, within 1 hour, every single element is in the mix. And then I start slowing down and I fine tune each section. So I may do 80% of the mix in the first hour and the other 20% in the next 3 to 10 hours. And I just go until the song tells me to stop. And when the song tells me it's done, then it's done and I stop.
Yeah, so you stop. And do you send that track to another person to master the your mix, or do you master the mix?
I deliver pretty mastered mixes, and
Yeah.
then once, especially with everybody, but with once my client approves them, then I provide them an additional mix pass of uncompressed. So I will take off anything that's just a volume push. So my last limiter and anything that's just there for pure volume, I remove those elements and I give them another pass. And if they want to have a GOAT mastering engineer master it, then go ahead. If they want to roll with just my mix as I mastered it, then they've got it. And like a really good example of the Jeremiah Down on Me is I mixed and mastered that. And that went to #1 on a bunch of Billboard charts. But most of the time in major label land, they'll have somebody like Sterling Sound who will do the master. And like Chris Garinger at Sterling is one of my go-to guys. He's fantastic. But if it's independent work or if it's my own production, usually I just master it myself. And I have a few clients I'm just a mastering engineer for.
Oh, okay. And you told us that you are mixing in Atmos too, right?
Yeah, I'm sitting in a 914 Atmos studio right now, and I've got another one in the house. I don't do a ton of Atmos, but I really love the format. When Atmos is done correctly, it is so beautiful. When it's done poorly, it's so bad. But when you get it right, oh man, it's such a beautiful form.
And when you mix a song, and it has to be in Atmos on stereo, in which mix you prefer to mix first in stereo or on the Atmos, or first Atmos and then stereo?
No, the stereo always comes first, and then I stem out the stereo mix I leave all of the plugins on, and I stem out stems one at a time through the mix bus, and then I move to Atmos. And I've found that is the best translation from what the stereo mixes, the vibe that the stereo mix gives you is the vibe that the Atmos will give you much more easily. And since Atmos is still primarily a headphones format, then my goal is always to make it sound great in the room, of course, but most importantly, I want the headphone experience to sound like an HD version of the stereo mix. So if you're switching back and forth between one and the other, it sounds like the exact same song with the exact same emotional content, but a bigger, deeper, just more lush version of the song. So
Yeah, like new dimension. Yeah. Ken, we have people who want to say hi. David, who is there?
Yes, we do. We have hi from us to the world. We have John Leay Guerra actually says hi as well. Val Torres is cheering you up, sending you some claps. We have hi from Colombia from Diego. Can you please tell us something about working with Taylor Swift?
I don't work with Taylor Swift. I work for Taylor Swift. Big difference. Jack Antonoff is the one that brings me on to the Taylor albums, and I've worked on the Lover album and the Midnights album. And that's just like designated hitter work that Jack knows I'm really good at certain things that he doesn't want to take all the time to do. So he'll offload certain things to me that I can do and send back to him, and then, you know, he can focus his time on bigger things. But working for Taylor Swift is one of the big honors of my entire career. Holy shit. That was when I got those calls, I was just like, what? Taylor? Okay, let's fucking go. But the first time I worked with Jack Antonoff was Fun, We Are Young. If you guys don't know, Jack Antonoff was the guitar player for Fun. So he was in the band that did We Are Young. And I worked on the big drums for We Are Young. And that's the first time me and Jack ever did anything together.
Amazing,
That's a great
amazing.
song. I love that song.
I love that song
Oh,
too. Yeah,
thank-
it was a huge part of my college life as well.
Yeah.
nice.
We have another question. What makes a great Atmos mix?
Uh, a great Atmos mix translates the emotion of the stereo into Atmos and enhances it. So it's like getting even, I would say in headphones, when you do it right, it's like 10 to 20% better than the stereo mix, but it gives you the same emotion or a deeper sense of the same emotion. On speakers, I have never sat a single person in my studio to listen to an Atmos mix in speakers that was not absolutely blown away. And the speaker experience is like 10 times better than the stereo speaker experience. And Atmos is coming to, it's already in like cars and sound bars for home stereos and headphones, and there's just going to keep being more and more available uses for Atmos on speakers. So it's mostly a headphone format now, but it keeps expanding more and more to speakers.
Okay.
Amazing. Thank you for your answer. And we have another question. Hi everyone, I have a question to Ken and Julio. Probably you work on different sessions and genres of music at the same time. How do you keep the versatility and creativity in each one?
I remember Timbaland way back in the day gave an interview one time, and he said, you know, people want to call me a hip hop producer or a R&B producer or this kind of producer, but I produce music. And that always resonated with me, that I produce music. I work on music, and I listen to who the artist is and what the artist is trying to convey emotionally, and I try to connect to that, and I try and give them back the best version of themselves. And I think because I've been lucky to mix for so many different genres worldwide, on almost every continent on earth, and so many different musical styles at the highest levels, it's helped me tap into other musical styles. So I've never I don't see it as a challenge for myself to jump into different genres. And like, if you look at my hip hop credits, it looks like I'm some like street level beat producer in hip hop, which I can do those things. But like, for instance, J. Cole, I produced on 9 songs on the Born Sinner album, but I produced all of the live choirs and live string sections. And like Kanye West, all of the lights, I produced the live horn section. So a lot of times these hip hop guys are reaching out to me so that I can bring another genre into hip hop in a really genuine way that is authentic, but also works within hip hop or works within whatever style that they want, want to bring in. So I'm really good at fusing different genres together, um, and I'm just really good at just going from one genre to the other because I just listen to the artist, and I just ask myself, like, who does this artist want to be? Who are they trying to reach? And then I just try and tap into that and help them make the best version of that.
Amazing.
Great.
Thank you for your answer. Actually, that makes me think about how important is the target now when you
Yeah.
are producing and composing a song. The target is a huge thing because I remember now that you're talking about your work with BTS, the emotions or the sounds that we are used to relate to some types of emotions in different parts of the world changes. For example, I remember one time we were creating music for some shows, and it was for some stuff for streaming platforms, and we had to do like
Mhm.
this really sad piece that was meant to air on Asia, and they said like this is not sad, like this doesn't sound, and for me it was the most depressing piano, and you have to take that into account because it's really different. It's really different, and I'm
Yeah,
connecting
it
this with
depends.
another question from Croy. Do you feel that the workflow is different when you work with artists from another country, or is it the same?
Um, I find it most artists from other countries are easier to work with than US major label artists. They're usually much more organized, and they just care more about the craft of recording and production. Um, Sometimes there's not a language barrier, but there's a challenge in translation. But I've always found that, like, BTS, for example, they have A&R people who are very fluent in English, and most of the BTS guys are fluent in English, so they can communicate what they're hearing to me in a way that I understand what they want. And if we're in revisions, then I understand how they want me to change what we're working on, and really make sure that they get exactly what they want at the end. Um, so the language barrier can be a little bit of a struggle, but usually I find with just patience and everybody being professional that it's not a problem at all.
Yeah, the language of music, it's beautiful. So
Exactly.
if you, yeah, doesn't matter the language. And can you
Exactly.
speak Spanish? Yeah.
Mi español es muy malo. Yes.
Oh, you speak Spanish perfect, man. And now you're going to Mexico, right?
I'm supposed to go to AES Latin America August 15 through 17.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be there. I'm supposed to do 2 clinics. I'm going to
yeah.
do a clinic on getting great vocals, and I am a savage vocal producer. So that's really exciting. I'm going to really level up everybody there on their vocal game, both the production and recording and putting it together for mix. So that's going to be one of my clinics, getting great vocals. And the other clinic, I think it's going to be sprint mixing, and the kind of the extended thing about the sprint mixing is training your brain away from focusing on the tech and the plugins and focusing more on reacting to the music that's coming out of the speakers and letting the music dictate your decisions. And so many, especially young mixers and people who are like on the come up, just rely on the tech way too much. And you feel like because you know how to EQ things, that everything needs to be EQ'd. Or because you own this compressor or these 15 different compressors, you need to use them on every channel, and you don't. And for me, sprint mixing is a way, it's like athletic training. If you've seen I have a once a month live stream on YouTube called Mixing Night. And I always start every mixing night show with a sprint mix, and that's 30 volume randomized tracks of a song. And here we go. That's mixing night. Yeah. And I have 10 minutes to do the very best rough mix I can possibly do on 30 randomized stems, which leaves you about 20 seconds per stem to make every decision you're going to make about how that should sound. And it trains you to put down the technology and tap into the song and react to what the song is telling you to do and what the song needs, and only do that. And so I think my second clinic is going to be on sprint mixing and getting away from the tech and tapped more into the music. Yeah, that's my studio. So I have the
Beautiful.
craziest one-of-one.
Can we talk a little bit about the setup?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So I have I can show you, but
Thank you.
if you go to my screen, I'll show you. So here's my studio,
Wow.
and I've just got I'm surrounded by 3 projectors, and you can see all the Atmos speakers.
Yeah.
And then, so I have a 3 projector system going in here. Put that back. And come on, Ken. So I have a 3 projector system, one front and one on each side, and I have about 7 meters of wrap of wall projection, and it's just acoustic projection fabric, so the sound goes straight through it and doesn't bounce back at me, and I can project anything that I want onto the walls in front of me. But where it becomes really, really powerful is when I cut vocals in here. Let me show you again. So when I cut vocals in here, I put the artist over that speaker to the right of the Dutch and Dutch, the white speaker. So the speaker to the right, I remove that speaker and I put my C800G, which is that microphone right there. I put my C800G right there, and I project lyrics up onto the wall in front of them. So there's a box with lyrics in front of the vocalist, and then everything else that's projected is whatever gets the vocalist out of their own head or inspires them for the song, or just, is a vibe. And it's been the most amazing way to get the most amazing vocal performances out of artists that I've ever done. And that's what I love about it, is my ability to get great vocal performances out of artists in this room has just been my favorite thing about it.
Wow. And how did the idea of doing live streams begin?
Well, 15 years ago, I started a school called Audio School Online, and I was one of the first people to offer online mixing tutorials and skills tutorials to whoever wanted them at very reasonable prices. The school did great for a while, but I started getting really busy as a producer and mixer, and I just decided I didn't want to keep going with the school. So I shut down the school, and then the pandemic happened, and the second the second week of the pandemic, or the second week of lockdown, we started doing the mixing night broadcasts, and it started as Q&A with Ken. And it was just my attempt to keep the studio community together and give them something to do while everybody was stuck inside doing nothing. And after about 15 shows of Q&A with Ken, we switched the name to Mixing Night, and we started getting more serious about it. And we've been doing Mixing Night we are in our 6th year of Mixing Night now.
Wow.
And it's just kind of my way to give back to the studio community and to help the next wave of, young record makers level up their own skills. And, like I was really inspired by Dave Pensato. And Dave Pensato was one of the best mix engineers on earth. And he was very open with his knowledge. And he shared so much of his knowledge. And I was like, well, shit, if Dave Pensato can share his knowledge, then I can too. And a lot of people are very guarded with their knowledge, but I've realized that I could teach you every single thing that I know about making records. And I'm always going to still work, and you're going to make different records than I make. With the same knowledge and skills, your records are going to be different. And I'm always going to have work. So why wouldn't I share my knowledge? So Mixing Night is just about, helping the next wave of people level themselves up. And our next show is August 6th. It's Wednesday, August 6th. And it's, I think, Bogota time. It's 7 to 9 p.m. at night. So
your time is 8 to 10 p.m.?
8 to 10 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
And the next show is going to be DAW night. It's going to be DAW tricks. So I'm going to show a ton of my different skills with different plugins and Pro Tools tricks and Logic tricks and stuff like that are the voodoo of making records. So it's going to be a really, really fun show. Anybody watching out there, you guys should definitely tap in August 6th and join us for Mixing Night. It's a lot of fun.
We have a date that day with Ken at 7 p.m. Bogota time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right?
See.
Yeah. Well, yeah, see. And Ken, I'm watching that you have a plugin there in your screens. It's called a comp.
All comp. So we have all comp. We have Greenhouse, and in a couple months we will be releasing a delay called Cascade. But right now we have all comp, which is 5 of my process chains put into very easy selectable chains. So you have my vocal chain, my bass chain, my drums chain, my my gentle chain, my pretty chain, and then my heat chain, which is saturation into distortion. And when I design plugins, it is very intentional that I try and make them very, very powerful and sonically great, but very easy to use. And those two things have to be in synergy with each other. And the other thing is I use my plugins like crazy. You can open any of my sessions, every single one of them, back to when I had an alpha version of AllComp, and you will find AllComp all over all of my sessions. There it is. So,
wow.
So it's like a super creative. It's not it's a compressor, but it's like a compressor on steroids. It does so much more than just compression. It's really a super creative box. So if you want to try AllComp, go to mixingnightaudio.com, and there's a free 14-day trial. And I guarantee you, you're gonna need one session to use it to know whether or not it's for you. And I'm pretty sure it's for you. So try All Comp at Mixing Night Audio and try Greenhouse. Greenhouse is like a saturator spreader. Uh, um, yeah, it's like a saturator spreader, but really it's a vibe box. It just, you get the most creative things out of Greenhouse that you've ever heard. And same with All Comp. So, yeah, it's been really fun designing plugins. Yeah.
Wow. So it's amazing that so you create plugins too.
Yeah, and that was born from the Mixing Night broadcast, and just going like, okay, we have this entire community that we built that we want to serve the community. So we just started making plugins that we thought the community would love, and plugins that we thought the community, it would make their creative lives much easier. So that was really why we started making plugins.
Well,
So far,
I'm
so
sharing my screen, David. Can you accept, please? I am in mixing night audio. That's the web, right?
yes.
That's the compressor with steroids.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a compressor limiter, but it also has a tilt. It also has a 2-band exciter for mid-range vocal presence and an air band for like really crispy vocals. And it's got an oxidate reverb. It's got 5 of my favorite reverb settings built into it. And it's just super easy to use. And yeah, and it's 14-day free trial, and you'll need 1 session to know.
Yeah, well, looks amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to try it. We're going to try it here in the studio.
Nice. Yeah, you're gonna love it. Well, report back to me. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, sure. And computer music, it has a performance award. Yeah, they've pensado.
And there's one of my idols who endorsed it. I was like, when he
Yeah.
told me, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me, Dave. So Dave, he invited me a couple times onto Pensado's place. So I've been on Pensado's place once.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this with us because, I like the idea that you are sharing your knowledge to everyone. So I love that. Yeah. Like
But
like like your school, but now in these days. Yeah.
well, the philosophy behind the plugins is the same as my mixing philosophy, which is to get your brain away from focusing on the tech and refocused onto what the music needs. So I made the simplest plugins to use that also sound great, so that you don't have to focus on what the plugin is doing. You can focus on what the music is doing, or the vocal is doing, or the drums are doing. And that's really my whole like mantra in record making is keep it really simple and work fast and react to the music. So far it's worked out pretty well for me.
Yeah. React to the music. Yeah. And I was wondering for you, based in your experience, how do you create a hit? Is there any formula, or what do you think about that?
I think if you set out to create a hit, you're almost never going to create a hit. I think the formula is that you set out to make a great song that moves you, that you are super connected to, that you really believe in. And if you make something that you love and you think is great and you believe in it, then it has a very good chance of connecting with other people who hear it in the same way that you hear it. So I think if you're making if you're trying to make a hit, you are trying to make music for other people that you think they might like. And you don't know what people are going to like, but you know what you like. And I just
Mhm.
always lean on my own musical tastes. And I say, we're just going to work on this until we love it. And if we think it's great, then other people are going to think it's great too. So occasionally that works out for us.
Oh, thank you.
That's amazing. That's amazing, and it's completely true. The first filter is actually yourself, and you made
Hmm.
me actually remember. I was reading a book called The Artistic Brain, which is from a psychologist, and I remember actually getting a little bit mad about something that they were saying there. You're gonna laugh about this probably, but there's something the author called the Max Martin's formula, and it basically means that they supposedly study like a lot of mainstream music, and they realize that it has different types of elements that repeat a lot. So, for example, they were talking about how the repeating of sounds and rhythms actually makes your brain decide that you like something easily because you know that sound. And they talked about, for example, the ABBA type of harmony. They were talking about the 80s effects on the drums. What do you think about this type of content being distributed and this kind of formulas that are being sold to the people to create music?
Well, my original advice still holds. You have to love it yourself. But the thing
Hmm.
about like Martin formula, so to speak, is you also have to realize that if you're making pop music, the more hooks that you can pile into a song, the better. And a hook does not need to be the chorus. A hook is simply something that you remember the very first time that you hear it. And so a typical Max Martin song has like 4 or 5 different hooks throughout the song. And uh, sometimes you can overdo it that way, and you can just be so focused on a formula that you lose the magic. But I think as you get more and more experienced, you learn to get rid of the stuff that is just extraneous, that doesn't need to be there, and you focus more on the musical elements that keep everything moving and interesting and fun or connective. And so, like for instance, nowadays you get rid of a long intro. If you can start right on a hook or right on the verse, that's usually better than a 20-second intro, because people's like, we're in the age of TikTok, like it or not. um, Even if you're not on TikTok, nobody has a long attention span anymore. So if you want people to sit through your 20-second intro, they're probably just going to skip to the next song, because you're not Drake and you're not Kanye and you're not Bruno Mars, and they're not, if they've never heard you before, you need to get to it, and you need to spoon feed them as fast as possible something that really connects with them. So that long intro that you love that really connects with you, you got to ask yourself if the listener is going to connect in the same way if they've never heard you before. They're willing to sit through a 20-second Drake intro, but they're not willing to sit through a 20-second intro from an artist they've never heard before. So I tend to produce shorter songs with independent artists nowadays, and write shorter songs that don't have any kind of extraneous parts that don't need to be there. And I just try and keep it really interesting from the very beginning to the very end.
Thank you. I was thinking about that, and the importance of all of this. We have a lot of passion about music, it's like we love music, and it's great to talk with someone like you who loves music and have created or have been involved in a lot of music that uh, we all have heard. I was wondering, um, you said that when you were a teenager, you heard a lot of like rock and metal music, yeah, and later, uh, did you work with I don't know any artist that you listened when you were uh, younger, like
Eminem. Oh my God! When we got the
Eminem.
call to Eminem, me and my production partner at the time, Brent, we were fucking screaming. We were so excited to get that call. You know, there are just some artists that you grow up listening to, and then you get to work with them, and it's just mind blowing. It's very, very cool. But nowadays, I mean, one of my favorite things to do is to work with incredibly talented, undiscovered artists, and because I can bring more out of them than I can bring out of an artist who already has done it, so many
Yeah.
times. Um, and I mean, I like both ways, uh, but I find it very rewarding to work with younger artists who have incredible talent but don't really know how to make records yet, and
Hmm.
then I can show like what their voice is capable of, and I can bring things out of their voice that they didn't know that they were capable of, and I can watch that transformation happen and see, you know, when they listen to the song finished for the first time and the jaw drops and they're just like, that's me, oh my God. And like, I get a big rush from that. That's really, I love that. And I also love producing vocals for that, you know, for that reason, is because I'm very good at listening to what a vocalist has already done and knowing whether or not I can get a lot more out of them. And I've just done that so many times that I'm just really good at bringing out really incredible vocal performances out of young artists. So
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Well, I'm going to be in Mexico too, so I'm going to enter to your talks because
Oh,
I want to know more about that.
yes, getting great vocals in Mexico City at the AES Latin America. That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. Well, we're running out of time. David Sicard has advertisements for us. Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, I can. Remember that this episode is actually going to be a podcast episode. Really simple. You just go to the platform on which you prefer to listen to podcasts, and you look for Produciendo con Julio Monroy. Then you will be able to find this episode and all past episodes as well. Also, remember to join our Discord. We have this amazing community at our Discord where we can actually talk audio. You can share us your compositions, your music, your mixes, everything about audio. Ask questions as well. You'll have also some pretty nice exclusive content there as well. So be sure to check that out. There's the QR. And also, remember that we are going to have this amazing mixing course called Mezcla con Criterio. It's going to be given by Julio Monroy. If you want to participate on a free spot on this course, you just have to share a story and tag Ken and tag Julio and tag Delta Records in order for us to have all the list of the people that are participating, and we are going to do this giveaway on our next live. And lastly, remember to check the video of the week about this amazing plugin called Split EQ. You can divide tonal sounds from transient, and it's amazing. It works like magic. So be sure to check that out, and please be sure to check Ken's plugins as well.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
thank you.
David. Ken, well, we're running out of time. I don't know if you have like a few minutes for two more questions from the community.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Tell us, David, please.
Yeah, we have this question. Which was the moment that you recall the most about working with Eminem?
So he's another one that I've never been in the same room with. He has always sent me the work that he wants me to do, and then I do it and send it back, and we've always just talked on the phone about what we need. But after I produced a song for him called Don't Front on the MMLP2 Deluxe album, he calls me up and we're just talking, and as he's hanging up, he goes, "Keep killing it, Ken." And I was just like, holy fuck, Eminem just told me to keep killing it. Like, that was like a religious experience for me. So, you know, just to kind of get the cosigns from guys like that, who I've always looked up to, has been pretty amazing. So, you know, like Mark Ronson was one of the same ones. When Mark called me for Uptown Funk, that was the first thing that I worked on with him. And the first thing that he did was apologize for underutilizing my skill sets. And my response was, I was like, "Mark, I would make coffee for you if it got me on your records. So thank you for that." So, yeah, it's really an honor to be able to get called by people at that level and sought out for my skill sets. It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
That's amazing. And the other question is, have you find it difficult to work with people that has like huge ego?
I mean, you know, I probably worked on over 50 songs with the old Kanye West. I would not work with Ye nowadays. But the old Kanye West had the biggest ego on planet Earth. And, you know, usually he didn't direct it directly at me, but occasionally he did. And you gotta realize that who cares? I mean, I'm still gonna do my work. He's still gonna like it or not. And if I do my work well, then he'll call me for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I did over 50 songs with him. So, you know, big ego, super nice guy. I certainly would rather work with the nice people. Like Usher was one of the nicest guys I ever worked with. And I mixed a song called Throwback on the Confessions album, and I recorded the vocals on that. And it was just me and Usher. And within 5 minutes of starting to record him, he was treating me like we had worked together for 10 years. And it just felt so natural. And, you know, there's just some guys who just really get it and are super professional and super nice. Usher is certainly one of them. And then, you know, there's the Kanyes of the world. But who cares?
Well, thank you. Thank you, Ken. Ken, and I have a last question, okay? I know you are very busy, but
No,
it's pretty simple. Yeah. Can you give us an advice or give an advice for the young audio generations, the people who wants to begin in this world? Do you have any advice for them?
yes. Everybody nowadays wants to do it yourself and instantly be a freelancer and go try and make it on your own. And that is a big mistake. And what I suggest that you do is find somebody who you love the way that they make records, and you find a way to make yourself valuable to them, and you go work with them for as long as they will teach you how to make great records. And that is going to be, you are going to learn things that you just can't learn any other way. And you are going to level up your skill sets in ways that you could never do on your own if you just take a few years and learn from great people who can teach you a lot about making records. That's what I did. And I would not be able to make the level of records and work with the clientele that I have if I didn't take those few years at first and just work with the best people in the business and make myself very valuable to them. And that's still the formula for me. My clients, I'm just trying to make myself valuable for whatever my clients need and deliver that so that they keep coming back to me and we keep making records. But trying to go freelance right out of the gate, who's going to hire you and why? I'm your competition. You're competing against me. Good fucking luck. Like, that is not going to work out for you. And, I find so many people just try and go on their own and open their own studio or like just be a bedroom producer or, that's never going to work. In fact, he's not an assistant now, but Jonathan Garcia, who is still with me after 4 years now, before Jonathan came to work with me, he was a successful recording engineer in New York City. And he was working every day as a well-paid recording engineer, but he was not getting the level of clientele that he wanted to be working with. And when I was looking for an assistant, he applied for the job and interviewed and got it. And he realized that taking what would be perceived as a step backwards, going from successful recording engineer, freelancer, to staff assistant engineer was actually a huge step forward because I could put him into a jet stream of work that he could not put himself into on his own. And since then, he's got Grammy participation certificates on BTS, not Grammys. Grammys would be Taylor Swift and Hell's Kitchen. So he's already worked on 2 Grammy projects. He's got his own gold record outside of my bubble. And he wouldn't have gotten any of those things if he had just stayed a tracking engineer in New York City and gone it alone. He realized that joining a bigger team and learning from somebody who was much better from him was going to make his own skill sets so much better and his own credits so much better. And that's all worked out very well for him. So that's my advice for young people coming up. Make yourself valuable to the people you want to work with. Learn from them. And then when you're really great, then go on your own.
That's a great advice. Thank you. Thank you, Ken. I love it.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you in Mexico in a few weeks. Yeah. So
Likewise.
you talked about coffee. Do you like coffee?
Oh, fucking love coffee.
Oh, my friend. Wow. Well,
I love coffee and art.
Coffee and art. Yeah. We can't live without coffee and art.
Love coffee. Yes. So good.
Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Thanks a lot. Thank you, David, for all your support in the controls.
My pleasure. Ken, thank you a lot for being here with us. It was a huge honor. There is another person saying hi to you called Francisco Escobar Iron Ears, who's connecting here as well. So, well, thank you. Thank you a lot for all your advice. Thank you a lot for sharing your story. I think it's amazing. The work that you have done has left a legacy on the music industry, and it's a huge thing. I don't know if you can actually dimension the huge thing that you are leaving here to the music industry and how you have crafted your art. So thank you a lot for being here. And thank you, Julio, for creating these amazing spaces of conversation. I think this was a huge episode, and well, thank you to all the people that connected as well.
Likewise. So, muchas gracias. Buenas noches. We'll see you next time.
I'll leave you with Julio Monroy.
Thank you, Ken. Well, thank you, everyone. This has been a great episode, and Well, we're going to see you next week with another episode. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, David. Thank you, music, and thank you, coffee. Bye bye.